I respect Isiah Thomas's talent. To me, the best point guard of all time is Magic Johnson, and right behind him is Isiah Thomas. No matter how much I hate him.
Those Pistons team, you know you were gonna get mugged. And he was like the leader of the pack.
He's a kid that could do whatever he wanted on the basketball court, just on pure talent. New York was frustrated thinking, we've done everything we can and now we're letting one guy beat us.
Isiah, three-point attempt, he's got it! For time!
There's no player in NBA history that played the way Isiah Thomas played. I know I've said that about a lot of other players too, but this time, it truly was the case. When Isiah Thomas stepped foot on the NBA court in 1981, he brought a level of intensity and nastiness not seen from any previous point guard. As a 6'1" point guard, 180 pounds of pure ferocity, when he was determined to win, nobody got in his way. He put his head down and zoned out everything else around him. Although his career was quite polarizing, and perhaps he wasn't the most likable character back in his day, heck, even on the Knicks, everyone hated him. Even so, there's no denying that even his biggest haters admit he's one of the greatest players and point guards we've ever seen. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and in this video, let's talk about the great Isiah Thomas, a name we're all familiar with and a game that transcended our own perception. How good was he actually? What separated him from other elite point guards? But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to The Ridge for sponsoring this video. Here I have the Ridge wallet and the Ridge key case. The wallet holds up to 12 cards with an extra strap for cash. As you can see, it's much slimmer than your average bifold wallet, like mine. It comes with a lifetime warranty too, and it's available in over 30 colors and styles. This one is stone-washed titanium. The key case is burnt titanium, very light but durable and fits up to 6 keys. It holds your keys in place so you won't hear rattling noises ever again. Get the best offer with my link, ridge.com/AndyHoops. And right now you can save up to 40% through December 22nd. That's ridge.com/AndyHoops. The 1980s. A decade that's normally known for being the era of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And they certainly deserve that. In that decade, the Celtics and Lakers combined to win 8 championships in 10 years. Isiah Thomas, at 20 years old, got drafted in 1981, the second overall pick, and he joined a team that was utterly atrocious. Seriously, the Pistons were horrible. They just had back-to-back years of being the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Almost immediately, he made an impact, turning the franchise around. Thomas was selected to be an All-Star as a rookie, a very rare accomplishment, and this would start a string of 12 consecutive All-Star appearances. However, it did take a few years for the team to build around him, acquiring guys like Bill Laimbeer, Vinnie Johnson, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Adrian Dantley, and later on, Mark Aguirre. When the squad was assembled, the Pistons developed a fierce identity as a rugged, scrappy, perhaps overly physical powerhouse of a team. Isiah was always an outspoken guy right when he came in, but it was his smile and charisma that captivated his teammates and fans around the world. There was this perception of him that he was brash and overzealous. From the way he played, he sometimes looked frantic on the court and hyper-aggressive. Early in his career, it certainly seemed that way, but at the same time, he gave off the impression of an innocent young boy. A coach once said, "I call him the baby-faced assassin because he smiles at you, then cuts you down." Move over, Steph. Isiah was the original baby-faced assassin. Over time, he blossomed into a true leader. By the mid-1980s, he was putting up like 20 and 10 with 2 steals. One of a handful of players in NBA history who put up those kind of stats. Isiah even had a season where he led the league in assists with nearly 14 per game. What made him special was that he was such a complete point guard, which was very rare to see at the time. Every other point guard had holes in their game, even Magic. His shooting was a huge weakness that he struggled to solve. But Thomas had no weaknesses. Despite his small stature, he was adept at driving and finishing at the rim. The way he contorted his body was a sight to behold. Fans weren't used to seeing stuff like this back then. Plus, he could shoot pretty damn well. Like most players of that era, he wasn't much of a three-point shooter, but mid-range, from the elbow, on top of the key, those were his spots. Not only that, but he brought this insane level of quickness and explosiveness that was unprecedented. When it comes to playstyle, I would describe his early years as similar to Derrick Rose or Russell Westbrook. As he got older though, his game transformed into someone like Jason Kidd. He became more of a leader but still played at a high level of physicality. For most of his career, Thomas was an underdog. He was competing in a world of giants. While the Pistons were a great team, winning 50-plus games consistently, they were still no match for the Lakers and Celtics at their peaks. Their teams were simply too stacked, and the Pistons did not have the star power to compete. It took years upon years to build the chemistry and camaraderie. The Pistons organization knew that they couldn't rely on just talent to win. They needed to win in their own way at all costs. Hence why they got their nickname the Bad Boys. Led by Isiah Thomas, the personality of the team changed. He was no longer that young, innocent boy when he first came in. The Pistons quickly developed a new identity as the most physical, most fearsome team in the league. It got to the point of being controversial, with many opposing teams calling them out on their aggressive play and accusing them of playing recklessly, even causing injuries. The most outspoken superstar was none other than Michael Jordan, who admitted that it was tough but gave the Pistons credit for giving him the motivation to succeed and forcing him to bulk up. An entire book, The Jordan Rules, was written about Detroit's approach to guarding Jordan and other superstars. In the book, Dennis Rodman stated, "One of the rules was anytime he went by you, you had to nail him. We didn't want to be dirty. I know some people thought we were, but we had to make contact and be very physical." That described the Bad Boys pretty well, and that's why they were hated by much of the league. Isiah was the face of the team, whose attitude rubbed people the wrong way. It's why his peers did not want him on the Dream Team, not just MJ, but Magic and Bird as well. As his career progressed, Isiah's game shifted, and because his teams got better, he no longer carried the scoring load every night. Him and Joe Dumars formed the best defensive backcourt in the entire league, maybe even in history. Now that I think about it, I don't think any other backcourt duos ever pressured the ball as well as these two. They would play full-court defense when they didn't even need to. The only other duo I can compare them to is probably Gary Payton and Nate McMillan. In 1988, Isiah made his first appearance in the finals. It was a series for the ages. The Pistons were up 3-2, and in Game 6, Isiah scored 25 points in the third quarter with a severely sprained ankle. That 25 points still stands today as the NBA record for the most points scored in one quarter of an NBA Finals game. Unfortunately, the Pistons lost that game and the series in 7. Although so many fans believe they got robbed when a phantom foul was called on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Overall, it was a controversial series, and Isiah felt like the refs were heavily favoring the Lakers. Through 7 games, the Lakers attempted 40 more free throws, and the Pistons were called for over 30 more fouls. However, this could be attributed to the Pistons' playstyle being way more physical. Regardless, this loss was heartbreaking. Despite being underdogs, not many people cheered for them. They were hated across the league. Outside of Detroit, fans across the country hated them. In the following season, they made one of the most impactful trade deadline deals in history. Adrian Dantley was their leading scorer, a great player without question, but he preferred to play a slower, ISO-heavy game. His style didn't fit in with the rest of the team, who preferred more ball movement. So the Pistons traded him to Dallas in exchange for Mark Aguirre, the former #1 pick from the same draft class as Isiah. They were very close friends, and Aguirre immediately improved the chemistry of the team. The Pistons would return to the finals and win back-to-back championships in 1989 and 1990 in dominant fashion, sweeping the Lakers and destroying the Blazers in 5. Against Portland, Thomas had the best series of his career, 27 points a game on ridiculous efficiency. He couldn't miss. With the Lakers and Celtics falling, the Pistons hoped to establish a new dynasty. Until they realized their time would be cut short. Michael Jordan and the Bulls, after 3 consecutive years of getting dunked on by the Pistons, they finally broke through and overtook them. In the twilight years of Isiah's career, the Pistons blew up the team and they quickly became irrelevant. In April of 1994, he tore his Achilles and officially announced his retirement. So, how good was he actually? Well, in terms of all-time point guard rankings, he could be anywhere in the top 5. The issue is, his peak was not as good as Magic or Curry's, and his longevity was not as good as John Stockton. I'd put him in the same category as them, but probably rank him a bit below them. Isiah finished his career with 12 All-Star selections. He made the team in 12 of his 13 seasons, plus 5-time All-NBA. He was truly a one-of-a-kind player who set a high bar for future point guards. He was as aggressive as Westbrook, but as smart and controlled as Steve Nash, with the leadership of Jason Kidd. He was a threat to score from any spot on the floor. Honestly, I don't think anyone can ever be compared to him. I've heard people compare young point guards to Magic or Stockton or Nash or Curry all the time, but never Isiah Thomas. I wonder why that's the case. Anyway, that's all folks. Let me know your thoughts on Isiah Thomas. Where would you rank him among point guards? How do you think he'd play in today's era? Would he be better or worse? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.